Good morning, everyone. I will start with today's Bitcoin levels. I won't be long today because I'll see you in the evening for the weekly trade setup where we'll be discussing the levels in more detail. So what we saw Friday was a typical, this is the daily ascending channel, and this ascending channel had formed a wedge here between the yellow line and the faint white line. And the technical target of this wedge, again, I chose it very conservatively around the middle, was met very nicely by price action coming to the bottom line of this channel. So it was wonderful to see this technical perfection. And then it keeps holding this bottom line, and it has been holding it for 3 days, which means generally it wants to bounce off it. So the way I see price action in the coming days or so, coming up to test the 20 on the daily, then coming back down. Oh, let me just remove this. I had started so well. So coming up to test the 20 and this orange trend line here, which is a sideways resistance, support and resistance line, and then coming back down, further down out of this channel. So I have seen these channels break downwards more often than they break upwards. The MACD on the daily is down. The stochastic looks like it wants to lift up, but at the moment, and that would facilitate a lift up at the moment, and then maybe another drop. So we seem to be right on the edge on the daily. If I switch to the weekly, you'll see that the weekly has, even though the stochastic is right up there, there has been plenty of momentum accumulated to the downside to give it a bigger lift. So if we check these 3 humps to the downside in the MACD and the crossing of the MACD, it would suggest that the weekly might push up. So we've yet to see which time frame will win, and our answer will be when it meets this 20 on the day. If it meets the 20 on the day and it turns it into support, then we are looking at it moving in this space, this small triangle, and this small triangle, if it breaks upwards, then it is a break upwards from this huge daily descending channel, and that would lead to a big relief rally. If the 20 is just being retested and it's not turned into support, and it is rejected at the 20, then we're heading down, and in my opinion, we're heading down for a double bottom, for the moment at least. So I'm starting with a bigger time frame on the day, because if I switch to the finer detail on the intraday swings, you'll see that there's not too much of a range to trade, and that's because we've been trading and moving between these 2 lines, and it is a almost 4% range, almost 4%. If you leave 30 on the table, as generally traders do, that's like 3%. So 3% swings is not a big range to move in. However, we are clearly on the edge when it comes to the intraday swings as well, because this is the I think this is the 15-minute, but there might be 2 15-minute or 2 5-minute arcs in there. But what again, I'm a bit unsure about the time frame, but what I am sure of is how this line of this arc is also the divergence line. So if this line breaks upwards, there might be a retest of the 200 on the 1 hour, which is generally where it likes to come back to, the mean reversion, event. So I am using the 15-minute arc also as a divergence line to watch, to see if it's broken and it pushes up. In the moves of the arc, we've had the double top, we've had the first drop, we've had mountain peak, we've had third drop, and it came very close to where we anticipated it to be. But now we're looking at this coming down. I think the stars of New York will come down, will do a double bottom or a sort of W formation, and then start lifting up in the second part of the session, and maybe lift up today and tomorrow. We'll see where this is gonna go after the session starts. I think Ethereum is in a very similar situation as well. I'm gonna expand this this arc slightly. Now Ethereum has had a slightly different anatomy in the arc, because this was double top, came down for the first drop, went up for mountain peak, and now third drop is in line with third spike. So it sort of came back to base. It made a nice double bottom here, and I think yes, and it is a 1-2 because this leg is smaller. Now it might do another, so this would be final peak, final bounce, final retrace, and up we go. And if we change to the 1 hour levels, again, I would see that the 200 or even the previous support and resistance level at 1720 being tested. So that's where I see this going if it does a retrace up. Here was what I anticipated yesterday before the start of the Asian session, and it did do a double bottom. I expected this leg to come a little bit lower, but it didn't. It stayed a little bit higher. I still believe the 1500 is a good level to tap and bounce off. What I'm going to watch today in terms of Ethereum's let's say intra-weekly progression is it getting some support above the 1 hour and then above the 4 hour 20 EMA. So it's lost that support last night. It was holding it very nicely yesterday. It lost it last night, and now I'm looking to see it holding and then doing maybe another level up. The level up is, I believe, only temporary, because I have this very long-term structure that Ethereum has been in. It is a long-term ascending wedge that Ethereum has dropped out of, and again I've taken a very conservative level, like right around here, around where the main, let's say, build-up of price action was, and I put it at breakout point, and the level, the target would be 1400. 1400 is an excellent level for Ethereum to retest. I would even say 1370, 1350, which is a historical level for Ethereum to be testing. So I think that would be very healthy for a possible relief rally. If this level breaks, if the 1370 breaks, unfortunately, I don't see too much of a relief in the coming month if that level breaks. Here is the daily channel, and here's the 1410, the green line, the next green line of support. The next one would be 1100, and the next one would be 830, which would be around a double bottom for Ethereum. But I believe we're going to get some sort of relief, because the daily is exhausted, and if we change to the 1 hour again, we'll see that there is a bullish divergence on the 1 hour heading upwards, and that bullish divergence will rehabilitate the 1 hour RSIs and stock RSIs and give it a little bit of oomph in order to come down to meet the technical target. So that's where Ethereum and Bitcoin are. In short, I'm watching for a push down at the start of New York, and then a lift up, continuing today, possibly tomorrow if the target is not met in the Asian session. And that lift up will be retesting the 20 on the daily on both of them. That's where I see it. Unless it loses steam, in which case I'll adjust my target, and I'll let you guys know in the chats. Now, I've already posted this in the chat, so if you have any questions, do let me know. That's it from me. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you tonight at the weekly trade setup and review for Bitcoin and Ethereum.
XRP. Okay, so I'll zoom out first, yeah, and then I'll zoom in. So you can see the smaller arc here is playing out, and this is Mountain Peak. This is third drop, and it looks like we're going to have a final phase here, yeah. If you see this here, this is like a 1 hour swing phase, and this is a 4 hour swing phase. And got very tight and compact here. Then it did a 4 hour move here, and then I think it's going to go into a 1 hour swing cycle here and create another small little arc here, consolidation phase before it goes again. It could drop down. This arc here could easily be brought down. No, wrong one. This one here. Here's the bottom of it, so it could easily be brought down here, and it still wouldn't be a breakout. But I don't think it's going to do it straight away. So yeah, I think there's going to be a consolidation phase here. But on the larger time frame, the argument for an actual relief rally is if we look at the bigger arc that's also here, yeah. You can see these are the 12-hour ones. So you can see the drop down here, yeah. So resistance peak, mid-range high, third spike, first drop. So first drop is after that is Mountain Peak. So Mountain Peak normally comes back up to meet resistance peak. So if I put a fib on that, it's normally between the 702 and the 786. So see there? There's the 786 at 64. The 702 is at 58.89. Yeah, and that would match this yellow line here, and this very dominant support and resistance line along here. So I can really see the argument for a spill down and lower lows and all that. I can absolutely see it. But when I look at the arcs here, is this 12-hour arc is looking for a bigger Mountain Peak, yeah. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So now when we zoom in, sorry guys, is we have people drilling upstairs. So here's that smaller arc, this smaller one here. Here it is again, yeah. Now I've put the fib wedge on it, yeah. And the reason why I've put it on it is it gives a good indication of when the breakout's going to happen. So you can see this last phase here, and then this final phase. 70% of breakouts happen here. Is 30% of breakouts happen in this zone. So there's a smaller one there. You can see the breakout there, yeah. Just a couple examples, yeah. So there's the breakout there. The breakout happened in this zone here. Did I do more? So I can put one on here, and the breakout was the red as well, but it gets a bit messy with the visuals, yeah. So I reckon we're going to have a lift up here, and I reckon what we're going to happen. Let me just take this off now. Let me just take this off. How do I? Okay, I reckon there's going to be a retrace back to at least the 20 EMA on the daily. So when I turn this to the daily, I reckon we're probably going to have a retrace back up to touch the daily to 20 EMA the daily, possibly even the 55, yeah. And again, here's the breakout. If I put the fibs on it, now, the 786 is up at 37.66. Okay, they've been doing this all day. Quite possibly we'll get another touch of this yellow line here, which you can see there's been 2 rejections off it already. Yeah, I'd imagine we'll get a final arc, a little micro one in this zone here. We get a final arc in something like this playing out here. Yeah, and potentially up here, here, and we may actually get the breakout to the upside, and that would be a proper relief rally. I honestly don't know. I know September is normally a dump month. Is 9 out of the last 10 years. It's the month where price action drops like a lead balloon. So it would be sort of going against the grain for it to break out like that. But we'll see. We'll see. You can look at a good example here is you can see the 20 nearly break into 55 on the daily. We get a drop down like this, and again I think this will help guide us. Depending on how this behaves over if we start seeing that there, is we're heading up. Is if we start to see it do this, there's more of a likelihood that we're heading down. Yeah. So I still think there's a consolidation phase to go on here. Yeah. So on the smaller time frame, I'm in a long at the moment. Yeah. A cautious long. So let me just show you here. Here's basically 2 channel lines, keeping it nice and simple. And I believe we just bottomed out again, and we're heading back up. And I reckon we're at least going to hit the target of 34.50. Potentially, we could be heading up to. Here's the 20 EMA and the daily. I have them marked out. Is we could be getting the breakout and heading up further up there, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Yeah. If you notice, there's a trend line here, and you can see the trend line here. Broke it, bounced along it, broke it, came down. We might get a touch of it here. If you start to see it get above this again, I think we're going to start to head up towards here. Yeah, so I think that's a pretty good indicator along the way. So we'll see what's happening there. Yeah, so. Okay, so on the EMAs, you can see here that on the 5 minute, the 20 is crossing over the 55, and again it's coming up to test the VWAP again. Yeah, so I'm looking for a bit of a pump here. Is to get that bigger pump. Is I need to see this. That's the 5 minute. This is the 15 minute here. 5 minutes on the left is the 15. I'd need to see the 15-minute crossover to make sure that target of 34.50 is going to get hit. Yeah. Now down the bottom left is the 30-minute, and then the bottom right is the hour. Yeah. So I'm looking to see how they play out over time, and I do believe that potentially this is a one. Sorry, I need to tell you what I'm talking about. The top left on the 5 minute, I do believe that this is the 1-2, and we're going to head up for a peak in this. Yeah. So I think when this breaks the VWAP, we get a very nice long pump here. We'll get a top, we get a retrace, and then we get the final blow off top, and we should be hitting 34.50 or so. And then the question is that how much does it retrace, and will it then continue on up? That's what I'm watching out for. Yeah. Now I'm gonna flip things around now and go. What's the chances of it just going for spill? This is sort of a Death Valley, no man's land. And what I mean by that is, I'll go back to the wedge here, yeah? This is a really tricky time in a consolidation phase to trade. And I'll show you now. I'll show you now. Here we go. Let's go back to this. Not down. This here. Is once you pass this level here, when you get into this zone, is things get trickier. You can see the consolidation phase here, and this is where the MAs got very difficult to read here, and this is where the indicators start to get a little bit less reliable, because all the MAs are much more tied up together. Is you're getting conflicting stories. And I would have said this before previously, and I'm going to show you what I mean again with the MAs. I'm just adjusting my seat here. So now, what do I mean by that? Is I'm going to go to the weekly, okay? And I'm going to go to the weekly. Let me just do this here, yeah? Go to the weekly like this. There we go. Okay. So here's the weekly. Okay. So now what I want you to focus on the weekly is this here. This is the stochastic on the weekly, yeah. So look on the weekly. It's coming up to the oversold, and it's high, yeah. So you can see it's gonna top out soon, and again looks like we'd be heading on a downward journey. But now this can still go high. This can still pump a little bit before. So it definitely could have a breakout. You could have a lovely snap up here, you know, and then turn around and dump. So the dailies can stay there for quite a while. But the point is, it's on the way up. So that's the weekly. And then the 6 day. So watch, the 6 days up. The 5 day is starting to turn. The 3 day, see, it's turning and starting to break back into from the overbought. The 2 day is on its way back down. The 1 day, and look, the 1 day is starting to bottom out here, back into the oversold. But look, the 18, this is where you see, now look, the 18 is turning back up. There's the 12, look, it's heading up. The 10 is going to head up a little bit more. You get where I'm going with this. The 9. So you can see incrementally, you have from the week to the dailies all at their top heading down. As you get down into the day, it's bottomed. And then look, the later hours, you see all the later hours, go back to the 6 hour for a second. All the later hours are coming up. But when you get to the 4 hour, now the 4 hours turn back down again. And there's the 3 coming down. There's the 2. There's the 2 bottoming out again. And then there's the 1. And the 1 is starting to turn up again. So what do I mean by this? Is you've got 3 different forces. You've got the weekly and the dailies. And they're all peaking out and turning back down. But you've got the day already bottomed, yeah, or bottoming. So you've got the dailies pushing in one direction. You've got the latter hours from 6 to 12 is pushing in the opposite direction. And then you got from 4, 3, 2, 1 is moving in a wave up and down. So sometimes it's working with the dailies, and other times it's working with the hourlies. And there's those conflicting forces where that's where it all gets very compacted and difficult to read. So your TA can be contradicting each other. That's what I'm trying to say. So that when you get into this zone here, is you start to get contradictory TA. So the market makers, look, they make it, here's the early swings, but the 4 early swings become more regular. So easier to trade, nicer trade, sweet, sweet, sweet. You know, the way you trade it here is not the way you trade here, because the signals start to get mixed up. So you have to be far more cautious. And then you get the impulses like this. So now it's your TA, you have to read it differently in this zone, because it's going to conflict each other. You're going to get your TA pointing out different directions. So you have to be more cautious. Generally what I do here is I rely more on patterns. Is what does the pattern normally do? Because sometimes the TA just swings in the face of it. So my TA for my long here is, I could see some of it was telling me to go long. Others weren't. Others were saying there's no long here, but the pattern says there's a long. So I went in on it with a tight stop loss. Yeah. So what am I trying to say? Is this is where you got to be really, really cautious, because all the profits you make here, you can lose them very easily here. Yeah. And then the final phase is, I do believe that if you look at this final phase, is if you stretch it out to here, here's the 6th of September. So at the moment we're at the 22nd of August, is we could have this final consolidation phase before we have the proper breakout sometime the second week of September. And then we'll have our decision, yeah. Traditionally, 9 times out of 10, it breaks down. So we'll see what it does, yeah. I can see an argument in the pattern for it breaking up and doing a relief rally, but we'll have to watch it as it goes, yeah. I could be calling this all wrong, and we could come down and do our double bottom down here. We could go down to the double bottom much sooner. And if it does come down to do a double bottom, I think that's a stronger argument for a breakup, to be honest. If it does the double bottom before we get to September, I think there's a really good argument that actually could create a pump up. But anyway, so let me now just simplify just to zone into where we are, and I'm going to put this on the 1 hour. Okay, so I am looking at a target of, here's the channel that I was showing you earlier on. Nice and simple. And again, one of the reasons why I went in on the long is that this is a 4-hour support and resistance line. So you can see how solidly it's holding it. So that gave me a fair bit of confidence as well. Yeah. So I'm looking at my initial target of really, I'm going to have it down at 34.50. Yeah. And I'm looking to see the 5 minute, the EMAs in the 5 minute. Looking to see that break and break the VWAP there, yeah. Breaking the VWAP should give it a nice pump. For a continuation, it would be great to see the 15-minute break. Is the 15-minute break is promising possibly a bigger pump. So what might happen here if the 15-minute breaks? If it does, I would expect it to do something like this. If it was going to break up further, you'll get the pump up, you'll get the back test, and then potentially is you get continuation. Yeah. So if the 15-minute breaks, I'm thinking maybe we could be heading for a bigger move. If it follows through and the 30-minute breaks, there we go, is getting the 20 to come around here and head back up, that's looking like a really good sign for that bigger breakup. Yeah. So that's what I'm watching for. Yeah. It is. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. It could just as easily you do a sideways, up and down, and there's nothing to stop it breaking down either. Yeah. So I'm just mindful of that. So that's my trade for now. I'll be watching. I'll be watching. I'll be watching for the swing. This swing as it gets up here, and again, simple enough is whatever way this plays out. Let's assume this breaks up when it hits the target. I'll be watching to see what the 5 minute does, because if it's going to come down and do another swing down, is this 5 minute will head up, and then this 5 minute will head back down. Yeah, because it's playing in this tight zone. It's playing in this tight zone at the moment. Yeah, so until it breaks it, that's what it's going to keep. That's what it's going to keep doing. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. That's it for now. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good luck with your trading, and I'll talk to you very soon. And sorry about all the noise. All right, have a good day.